problem with that is that it's the middle of my night when you change the plans, and my plans are already sort of fairly set.
Yeah. Well,
I preempted that this week and made sure I'd be able to get back to at least not miss the real start.
I love it. That's good. That's works out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Way. So yeah, we got everything going on YouTube. It looks like now. So we'll.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we'll get it started. But yeah, I mean, it'll either be 5:30 or 6. You know, pretty consistently. I don't really want to end up going until like 6 o'clock or anything too late. I'd like to be able to keep it somewhat early if possible. The earlier, the better. It's going to be, you know, where I like to be able to keep it.
Yeah, your 5:30 at least until our time change is probably about my limit that I can do.
Okay. Yeah.
Once the times change, well, it'll actually start to get the other way.
Yeah.
Because by November it'll be 2 hours later here, and the end of it'll start to be a problem.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for as long as you can do it, then I'd say, you know, continue to be on. And let me actually put the
it'll be a case of I'll get on when I can get on.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever you can. I do want to say that the people that are watching on YouTube here, if you join, I'm going to put in the link for the Zoom into the description. So if you join through the Zoom, then you have a chance of winning the free coaching call. So we are gonna hop into some of the things. I have a few different topics to be able to go over here today. I'm pretty excited about the meetup, just because I think that, you know, I mean, I was talking a little bit with Tony here, and he was talking about some of the good things that came out of our first live session that we did. So I'm really excited to be able to hear that. Tony, again, real quick, what's the age and where you're competing at, just so then people kind of know a little bit more about you here?
Yeah, I'm 53, so 53. I do masters and local competitions.
Okay. And what are you competing with?
Plus the odd state and national.
Okay.
Although we haven't had nationals for 2 years here due to COVID. And the last national was 2019.
Yeah.
Next one, hopefully next year in April 2022, we'll have nationals again.
Hopefully, within, you know, God willing.
Yeah, COVID permitting, as we say here.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's been a bit hit and miss. Like, I managed to get to Queensland to do the Great Barrier Reef Masters Games about 2 months ago.
Okay. What did you compete
or a month and a half ago. Pardon?
What did you compete in there?
60, 100, 200, 400 metres.
Oh, wow. So there you go. 53 going into a competition, competing for the 60, the 100, the 200, and the 400. That is ballsy, because I don't even think I would be able to do the, you know, I'm nervous about going and doing the 100 here in Seattle, making sure my body can hold up, and I'm 30. So, you know, definitely a lot of props to you there to be able to go out and do a wide variety of different you know, sprint movements.
I've got a good strength coach, so the injury issue is sort of largely gone away now.
Good. I love that.
So yeah, I spend a lot of time in the gym and doing other conditioning work.
I love it. That's good. And Vincent and Juwania, two people that are in the meeting as well. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing in terms of, you know, quarterback sprinting, you know, how we can maybe help you out here. I do want to say for the people that are joining the YouTube video or the YouTube live, that if you join the Zoom session and the links in the chat, you do have a chance of winning a free coaching session with me. And for Vincent and Juwania, you can always just, you know, let me know if you guys have any questions or anything like that. But I do want to get into, so one of the main concepts, there's a couple concepts I want to go into. One is going to be, you know, just some general kind of goal setting and the importance of being able to do that. I love to be able to help out any way that I can there. And then the next thing is going to be making sure that, you know, everything that went down with the NCAA this week, I know there's a lot of high school athletes that watch this, you know, and now being able to utilize your name and your likeness to be able to, you know, use that to be able to monetize, I think is huge for your ability to make more money as a athlete. And so not that I'm a pro at any of that yet, but I definitely am ahead of most in terms of marketing and utilizing the image to be able to kind of build out a brand. And so just wanted to go a little bit into that as well. And then obviously talking about some mechanics and some things that we could work on from a general perspective when it comes to working out and training and things like that, I think are going to be great too. So first, we're going to go into, really goal setting. The reason that I love the goal setting is just because one of the key concepts I think are really important in life in general is to do what other people don't do, right? When everybody's swimming one way, you want to be the person that is you'll always want to be obviously the guy that's swimming the other way, but there are some times when it is important to be the person that's swimming the other direction, because it could lead to really great results, right? When it comes down to the numbers here, less than 3% of Americans write their goals down every day, right? And or even, and even from that perspective, it's like 17% of Americans write down their goals in general, right? But behind those numbers, and by the way, less than 1% of those review them every day, right? So there's such a huge amount of people that don't even partake in writing goals. And that's where you could be, they talk about in America at least that, 10% of the wealth, 90% of the wealth of America is in 10% of the people's hands, right? Or 80-20, things like that. And, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, the 80-20 rule applies in so many different ways. Another important way that the 80-20 rule applies is that really when it comes down to it, 80% of your work, right, is going to accrue to 20% of your income, right? Or 20% of your work is going to accrue to 80% of your income, right? And so you really want to be focused on what are the things that are going to be able to create the most benefit for me. Or even from a track perspective, right? 20% of our training, 20% of our exercises, 20% of what we're doing is going to result in 80% of our results. Okay, so we got to be really focused on, okay, where can I spend my time to be able to, we all have 24 hours, right? So how can we optimize those 24 hours to be able to get the most out of those 24 hours every single day? And it's really important to be able to focus on that, and really be important to be able to really take a look and see where are we spending our time. And, when you're setting the goals, I think what's important is not about putting a to-do list together, right? I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. Because a lot of times when you go through and you finish a to-do list, that doesn't really add value onto your life. You can get done with a to-do list and still, feel unfulfilled, still not be able to accomplish much. You're just doing a bunch of to-dos every day. Really, what you want to be able to do is think about what are the goals, what are the aspirations. For me, I want to run 10-2, right? That's my big goal, is to get to 10-2. That's I've read through everything like that. Especially essentially, if you get to 10-2, that was the Olympic trial standards, right? So you had to be able to get to 10-2 in order to get to the Olympic trials. So that's why I put that goal down for me, is because I want to be able to get into that potential. Obviously you'd have to run 10-2 and be able to qualify by beating the people to be able to actually make it to the Olympic trials. But just being able to get in that number is, would be a huge accomplishment. Okay, so think big, right, with the goals. You don't want to be limited in what your goals are and what it is that you can achieve. We don't need to know how you're going to achieve the goals. We want to know what the goal is and why it's important to you. Okay, and because those two things end up being the key motivators for us that will push us in the direction that we need to go, right? So we decide that, hey, I wanted to achieve this, whatever it ends up being, running 10-2, right? Why is achieving 10-2 important? A big thing for me is because being able to achieve running 10-2 would really legitimize a lot of my training and a lot of the things that I'm doing. Yeah, maybe running 10-5 would do that too, but 10-2 would really be able to show that what I'm doing from a training perspective is really beneficial, right? And I don't want to just I don't want to be limited and get only to 10-5. Why not go separate? And even with that, why not get to 10 flat? When I get to 10-2, I'll probably want to get to 10 flat and beat that 10, because, once you get down to that low, might as well try to go to be able to get below 10 seconds. So that ends up being an important part of being of growth, is being able to write down your goals and be able to go after them every day. With, in general, again, to go back to numbers, people with written goals, 50% more likely to achieve them. 50%. Okay. Most people don't write down their goals. Most people don't review their goals. Most people that even write down their goals don't achieve them. Okay. So you want to be there every time. This is just, we think of it as like a funnel. Everything is all big up here, and it's slowly cutting down to who are the top people, the top performers, the top athletes, the top whatever. Who are they and what are they doing? And one of the things that they're doing is they're very focused on what it is that they're looking to achieve, right? What are their goals? What are they trying to accomplish? And so you want to be connected to that in order to really make sure that you're going to be able to grow and get yourself to whatever it is that you want to achieve. And when you're writing down the goals and thinking about the goals, there's a few different categories. It's not just about physical. I would consider that to be a physical goal of being able to run 10-2, right? And so there's financial goals, there's spiritual goals, there's relationship goals, and another thing to me is emotional goals, right? How do you feel? Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you disciplined? Where from an emotional standpoint are you? Because a lot of us end up getting in a position where we're stressed out, overworked, tired, fatigued, disorganized, all these things. And a lot of it has to do with the self-talk, right? A lot of that has to do with what is it that we tell ourselves when we wake up every day. Are we overworked? Are we tired? Are we fatigued? Or are we, not happy with what we're doing with our lives? That's all has to do with what it is that you tell yourself every day. And it's a lot harder for you to get up and be excited about your life and be excited about your future when you think that you are overworked, fatigued, not appreciated, all these things that go down the list that set us up to really be behind the 8 ball from the start of the day. Okay. And so really take that into consideration as you're going through your day. What is it that you're taught? I've, as I'm getting closer and closer to the 100, I've noticed in my own mind, and I've started to read more about athletic psychology, right? Like psychology books for athletes, because, as we're getting closer and closer to this, especially because there's a lot of you guys that watch, my breakdowns and my videos and stuff like that, where, I'm starting to doubt myself. It's hard to not have self-doubt. It's hard to not go into it and start to really think negatively of my training, of my capabilities, of what it is that I can achieve. And that takes a toll on you if you don't get control of that, right? We've seen a lot of people get to the Olympics and be favorites and not be able to pull it off in the Olympics, or not be able to completely achieve whatever it is that they set out to achieve when they went into whatever sport, whatever situation. And a lot of that has to do with the mental side of it. And so are you mentally prepared to be able to perform at the highest level, right? And by going into and getting a better understanding of some of the psychology and the athletic psychology, the more that the conversation goes into your self-talk and the awareness of what it is that's going on inside your mind every single day as you, approach your day, right? There's a lot of things that I'm trying to do every single day. I'm trying to create, books. I'm trying to create YouTube channel. I'm trying to create membership offers. I'm trying to create program offers. I'm trying to make sure that everybody that's in the program is having a very successful experience within the program. I'm working a lot to make sure that you guys are getting a ton out of everything that we're participating in. And then after all that, I still got to be able to work out at a rate to be able to get down to running a 10-2. It's not something that that's an easy thing every day, but I love it. So, and some people talk about, oh yeah, you got to do, things that you love and blah, 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 blah. And that's true. I love being able to help you guys out with sprinting and help you guys out with throwing and doing the things that we're doing here. But, there's also a lot of it that I don't like, I don't like making thumbnails for YouTube videos, but it makes a big difference. I don't like going through and doing a whole bunch of programming because it takes a bunch of time, but I make it happen. I don't want to write emails to be able to send out because it just takes time and energy and effort and focus. But, how else am I going to connect with you guys? So you got to do the things that other people won't do. You got to do the things that are not fun all the time. At the end of the day, it's the things that end up not being fun, right? Yesterday, I used the Echo bike and basically made it so I almost passed out on the Echo bike, trying to push myself to be able to go through 8 sets and going 100% for 8 sets, wanting to get into 1100 on the watts or whatever. So, when you do that every day, though, it creates a certain type of brass that makes it so it's a lot harder for you to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. I've just put way too many hours and time and effort and energy into it all to be able to give up. And so some of you guys are just not putting enough into it to be able to, really say, I'm going to push through no matter what. Okay, going again into another number here is people who write down their goals are 10 times more likely to achieve, right? People with written goals are 50% more likely and 10 times more likely. Okay, both those numbers are important numbers. So just consider that when you're going through and going out with your day, right? What's going to be, how you're going to prioritize your day. Instead of spending time on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, write down the goals for a second, or instead of watching TV, write down, you could spend 5-10 minutes a day thinking about what it is that you're going to do in the future. What are you going to achieve in the future? Get excited about your future. And that can make a huge difference on your overall psychology every day. And I know that from personal experience. Just focus on where I'm going, focus on where I'm going, focus on where we're going. It sucks sometimes. It's hard. It's difficult. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy, but you got to do what other people don't do. Everybody else wants to have a nice, comfortable life, live in air conditioning, chill, relax, don't got to work out, don't got to try hard. I want to look cool when I'm working out. I don't need to be, a try hard. What is that? That's the new thing that, oh, you're a try hard. Oh, you're trying too hard. Oh man. Yeah, I try hard. That's what I am. I am a try hard. But, that has worked for me. I work harder than everybody. I try hard to be able to work harder than everyone to make sure that a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, I'm looking at my goals. I'm looking at my bank account. I'm looking at, my feeling, my connection for, spiritually and my relationships. And I'm happy with all that. And that matters a lot to me, that really, I care a lot about making sure that all that is all in line. I don't want to look back and say, dang, I wish I could have done that. I wish I would have pushed harder for that, USA Track and Field event. Or, I wish I would have done more with my program. Or I wish I would have created this or done. I don't want to look back at my life and do that. And I hope you guys don't want to do that either. So to transition, though, I want to go into talking about the likeness, right? Because that's one of the big things that came out here, recently, is that it starts with the live on YouTube. I don't think to see you guys. Hopefully, you guys can see that the description of the Zoom. You guys can come and join the Zoom. We'd love to have you guys in the Zoom. That's how you have a chance of winning a coaching session with me. But big thing that came out with this week for improving ankle mobility. Yes, sir. I can make a video about improving ankle mobility and manual. And sorry, A Sports, I was on my rant, so I couldn't really say hey to you. Hopefully you're still in here. But yeah, manual can help you out with an ankle mobility video, no problem. So the big thing with when you're trying to create a brand in general, and this is the thing that I've learned. I've read a lot of marketing books and was a lot more into marketing probably like 3 or 4 years. I mean, I still read, stuff about YouTube and things like that to make sure that, things are moving in a good direction there. But, it's important to be able to understand about creating a brand and actually being able to get people to pay you for your name, for your image, right? Because right now we're in a situation where, there's a lot of influencers. There's a lot of people that have over 100,000 followers, over 50, or it's almost like it's too many people that are influencers, So because of that, it's like, why, you're just not going to make a bunch of money being an influencer anymore. It's just not really feasible unless you're a Kardashian or, one of those super famous people, then you can make a bunch of money off of it. But if you're, for the most part, a lot of college, you're just not going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from companies to be able to use your name to talk about Chick-fil-A or whatever it is that people are hoping to get sponsorships from. So if you're going to try to build a brand, though, what I would say, and where you can use this opportunity, is really to be able to create more value for people around you, right? That's the point here. The reason that, and I'm part of YouTube groups as well, and a lot of things with the YouTube groups that people talk about is like, hey, I've been creating videos for, this amount of years, and I'm still not getting very much traction. I don't understand what I'm doing, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And the reason is, and the reason that I know I didn't struggle with that, my space, I think, is something that is going to continually grow. But the reason I didn't struggle with that is because I, from the very beginning, knew that creating value for people is going to be what's most important to be able to actually grow from a marketing perspective, from a brand perspective. And so if you're looking to be able to be a Division I athlete, I don't know if you guys are in high school, college, where you guys are at here. But if you guys are college athletes looking to be able to build a brand, to be able to make money off of your name, your image, you got to be able to put yourself out there and be able to create value for others. And there's a ton of different ways to be able to do that. A great thing to be able to try to do is create some degree of a tribe, right? People that want to be able to show up and do something like a weekly meetup, or create some type of slogan that everybody can follow. You want to be able to, or really, obviously giveaways. There's a ton of people that are doing giveaways. The more value, though, the point is, the more value that you could add to other people's lives, then the more engagement you're going to get, the stronger the following is going to be. The better off you're going to be as a marketer and as an athlete. And so that's really what you want to be doing here, as however you are, high school, college, even middle school, or before that. You want to make sure that you're going out and creating a brand and a message of something that's going to create more value for others. Because the more you can do that, the better off you're going to be in being able to actually attract brands to you, right? I've been approached by people that are like, hey, you want to get, you want to have me sponsored, or whatever the case may be. You're going to be sponsor this athlete, should we sponsor this athlete? And to me, I'm not as into being able to do that, because the audience is just not used to the athlete putting on some type of sponsor, so you just don't know how people are going to respond to that. But if it was somebody that was like already creating buzz around them, or already doing giveaways, or already doing stuff to be able to create some degree of a tribe, rather than it being like something talking about, oh, it's about me and finishing, or it's bigger than you, or whatever there's a lot of these people that have a lot of followers, but just don't really create a sense of tribe that is going to create action within the followers, right? And so what you want to be able to do is just make sure that anybody that decides to follow with you, the more that you can engage with them, the more that you can talk with them, the more you can respond back to the comments, the more that you can make it so they are actually important to you, the better off you're going to be as a somebody that's going to actually create business for themselves, not only from a perspective of bringing on other brands, but also being able to utilize your own brand. So then whatever business you go into, whatever the case may be, you can utilize some of your own talents to be able to further grow what it is that you're doing, right? And even like Destroying is a big time, he's kind of the first YouTuber that went out there and just created a bunch of funny videos, right? That's adding value to people's lives, is making funny videos, right? He's putting himself out there. Nobody got famous by trying to fly under the radar. There's a lot of people that maybe, now that they're famous, are trying to fly under the radar, but nobody got famous by trying to fly under, you get famous because you want to get attention. And wherever there's the most amount of attention, then you're going to get a bunch of money. That's just how it all goes in terms of, what it is that you want. And I know there's a lot of people that are money motivated, and that's great. There's people that are more, maybe spiritually motivated. There's people that are more relationship oriented, whatever the case may be. you're going to be able to grow that through different types of attention, right? The more attention you get, then the more opportunity you have to be able to build a great relationship from a spiritual perspective as well, from an emotional perspective as well. So there's a lot of good reasons to be able to put yourself out there from a brand perspective, because when you do that, it really just makes it so you're going to be able to create more value for yourself, right? So even if it's a spiritual side, if you're very spiritual and you want to be able to talk about, for me, it'd be like a God or Jesus. I come from more like a Catholic background. I would, if I want to create more value for people, I would put out stuff about Jesus and Catholicism and all that. I'm obviously much more physical in terms of where I'm putting value out with all my breakdowns and doing everything with the speed and the throw and the jump and working on mechanics and things like that. So I'm much more physical based, right? And, but I still want to be able to gain attention around that physical base, because then I'm going to be able to help more people. And it really helps myself as well. I look at other athletes and I see them sprint or I see them throw, and I could utilize that information to help me in sprinting and throwing. And that's really what I've been doing since I was in high school. That's like my story here, is that I, started just watching these videos of other quarterbacks. We played against Brian Bennett, who ended up playing for the Colts. We played against Ryan Kasdorf, who was the National Gatorade Player of the Year. We had a lot of great opponents. David Johnson, he went to Utah State. And then we go to 7-on-7s with, Matt Barkley. So the point being is, when you can go and watch these guys, we play them and then we'd have to film. And so then we'd have the opportunity to be able to watch these guys play. And by being able to watch them actually physically throw, I would watch it and be able to figure out, okay, this is what I need to work on within my mechanics. And I'd go to practice and work on that within my mechanics. And that helped me in being able to improve as a quarterback. And that's when this all started, back in like 2008, 2007, sometime in there, when I would go and watch these films of other athletes and be able to break it down and be able to assess it and then, figure out what it is that I needed to work on. And so from there, I started doing the breakdowns when I started the business. Now this is like 2015. This is like, 6-7 years later. I started doing those same breakdowns, and other people liked it. People liked being able to see and understand what it was that they're doing wrong from a, athletic standpoint, and be able to build off of, whatever that is. And a lot of this stuff is just not my opinion. It's stuff that I've actually just watched, from watching just hours and hours and hours of quarterbacks throwing, golfers swinging, baseball pitchers throwing, baseball pitchers swinging, baseball players swinging. Sorry, I keep on messing that up. Baseball players swinging, people sprinting, people were sprinting the 40, people sprinting the 100, people sprinting the 200, soccer players sprinting, seeing and even watching like jaguars run and ostriches, run. All that stuff gives you a different perspective. It gives you the opportunity to be able to see things from a bunch of different angles. So now when I talk about sprinting, it's not about trying to figure out anything, or it's only what it is that I'm seeing in comparison to what it is that I'm used to seeing when looking at the top athletes, and where it is that you're bleeding force, and where are the obvious places that you're bleeding force. And now you get to a point where you watch it and do it and you do it and you do it and you watch it and you do it and you watch it and you do it and you watch it and you watch it and you watch it. And now it's just easy. It's not difficult at all to be able to go and see what it is that you need to work on. So and that's why I obviously tell people that do the breakdowns, because there's not anybody that's going to be able to explain to you what it is that you can do and how you can improve better than I can, because I've just been doing it for so long and seen so many people, run and throw. And I just don't think that the camera capabilities have been good for a long enough period of time to be able to catch up with how much film. I have a football player background. My dad is a football coach. So being able to understand the background there is critical, right? And at the end of the day, guys, it's not about where you start. It's about where you finish. How you finish is going to be what's most important, right? And so I'm not anybody that came from anything great. I guess, you could say that I have white privilege, I guess, because I'm white. I'm actually technically American Indian and Scandinavian, and have a few different other things going on there. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lee. But I didn't come from privilege. There was one year for Christmas that I got old golf balls. We had an old pack of golf balls. My mom gave me an old pack of golf balls for Christmas. I called her out on it. I was like, "What is this? Got this from the garage. This is what I got for Christmas." I'd get made fun of for wearing the same clothes all the time in middle school because we couldn't afford to get new clothes. And so, and now I have a fashion. Like I have all new clothes all the time and new freaking shoes and all that type of good. And it comes from where it is that you. That's where it comes from where you start, but it's a change in how I didn't want to be made fun of. I did not want to have a life where people look down on me because I had to wear the same clothes or because I didn't have new shoes. I wanted to be somebody that had the opportunity to be able to have new clothes and have good style. And that ended up being an important part of who I was, right? Because of where I came from. And so you have two different opportunities to take where it is that you are. You could either complain about it and say, woe is me, or it can motivate you to be able to make the change, to be able to, run faster, have better relationships, grow from a spiritual perspective, decide to change your emotional standpoint, where you are from an emotional standpoint, where you are from a financial standpoint. There's so many different opportunities that you have to be able to make changes based off of where you start. Wherever you started is that's where you start, right? You got to be able to be honest in where it is you are, right? You don't want to make it worse than it is. Okay, from a mental perspective, I know a lot of us can make it seem like it really is worse than it really is, right? It can, at the end of the day, it can be a lot worse for a lot of us. Okay, there's a lot of good opportunities around us, but we have to look at it like we have plenty of opportunities around us and try to create those opportunities, or the opportunities that come, we have to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. We can't look at these opportunities and say, oh man, I don't have enough opportunity, when they're right in front of us all the time, and we have the opportunity to go and talk to people, meet people, go out, expose yourself, be able to go and talk to people, meet new people, and ask questions. There's never an email that people send to me that I don't respond to, that I'll get back to. Even if for people that are asking free stuff, I'll explain to them why I'm not going to just give you something for free. So I always respond to people when they email me. I'm going to, ask me a question, I'm going to respond to it. That's just the way that I want my business. I want to be able to engage with you guys, because the more success that you guys get, people that are watching these meetups on a weekly basis, or people that join my programs, or people that give me the opportunity, then the better the business is, right? Or even when I go out and meet people, the more that I can get people to talk about me in a positive light, see me in a positive light, then that's going to create a storm that is going to constantly be brewing, that one day we'll be able to it'll just keep on brewing. It'll just keep on getting better. Who knows what the actual opportunities, what that storm can bring, or what the light can bring that we want to put out. But don't be afraid of your light. Put your light out there. We all want to see your light. And if anybody tries to put you down, try to put your light down, try to dim you, try to say you're working too hard, trying to do too much, you're getting on social media too much, you're saying too much, you're doing too much of this, too much of that, it's because they haven't been able to do that, right? Because they haven't been able to achieve their goals, because they haven't been able to get themselves out there and be able to get any type of following. The only people that try to hold you back are going to be the people that are afraid to do it themselves, or weren't able to do it themselves. So, really take that to heart. Show your light. Be that person that is, when you're around, you're like, wow, that person's going to be great. I love that person's energy. I love how that person shows up. I love that person's, mindset. I love your philosophy. I love how you take criticism. I love how, you bring up everybody around you. Those are the things that you want to be able to make happen. What are your plans to grow your footprint on social media? So the big thing that I want to do right now is I want to start doing more podcasts with people. I reached out to Cody Bidlow recently. I don't know if any of you guys, he's another big sprint guy, and I want to be able to do a podcast with him. I would love to be able to do one with maybe Spellman, Lee Spellman. There's like a sprinter that works out here kind of in the area that I want to be able to potentially maybe meet, or Michael Norman. I just want to be able to get a podcast going and start to be able to talk to some of these athletes. I think it'd be really cool to talk to, somebody that ran like the 400 meter to find out a little bit more about the training schedule, or even the 100 meter, I just want to be able to understand a little bit more about how some of these guys, what was their life, and how they come up, and what were some of the things that, I don't think that that's done enough, in especially the sprinting community. Like, we don't really get the opportunity to hear much about, Tyson Gay or Christian Coleman or Justin Gatlin or any of these, guys. I mean, the only one that we really know a lot about is Usain Bolt, because of all he accomplished and all the interviews that he's done. So, where I want to be able to do is just get more of a podcast going to be able to help people out. So if there's anybody that could potentially, I guess, help me out there, send me an email. Would love to be able to connect with you guys there. I got a question there on YouTube. So anybody that's on Zoom or YouTube, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions. I'm going to, answer those for you. But to get back on track here to, what we were talking about, appreciate it there, Sprinter. I don't even know your name, Sprinter. I just refer to you as Sprinter because that's just what your name is on here. But I mean, be the light, be great now. Okay, you can't be worried about how people are perceiving you now and think that, down the road, then people will really, now that girl is really gonna, be jealous or whatever. You have to show your light now. You only have one opportunity to make a first impression. I talked about this the other day. And so you want to be, yourself always. Okay, and don't hold yourself. When people get in the crowds, I'm very introverted. I'm probably more introverted than anybody on any of this, right here. But that doesn't mean that I can't go and do this Zoom. Put myself out there, and it's hard. When I first started doing these videos, 2013, 2014, I was so bad. I would have to go and do 25 takes to be able to say 5 words because I was so nervous. It was so bad trying to get, and I would try to send out videos to people. And this is when I was trying to build a business. So we would go to different businesses and, I try to talk to them and this and that. And I was so nervous. It was hard for me to talk, the other people that I would take, I'd have to go with somebody else. I couldn't just walk in there by myself. I had to go with somebody else to go to these places because I was so nervous. And then when I would struggle with that, and it was embarrassing, and I just said it was you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So I made such bad impressions on these people because I was just so nervous and weird and awkward. And I still do that. I still go in and end up being weird and awkward, and it is what it is, like, what can I do about it? I cannot do anything about it now. It already happened. And, there's still a lot of people that love me. There's still a lot of people that show up here and do all this and take the feedback and like the information and enjoy all the stuff that we have from a, performance perspective and program perspective and like the emails and just like the mindset. So, if you're afraid to fail, you're going to fail. The quarterbacks are the worst with that. I don't know if there's any quarterbacks in here, but man, quarterbacks just go and they want to send over these breakdowns all the time and talk about being the next Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and Josh Allen, and don't even try out for the team. There are people in other countries that are like, oh yeah, can I make it to the NFL? And it's like, do you have any film of you playing in Brazil or in Germany, or do you have any film? Like, oh no, I can't go out yet. I'm not good enough. And it's like, if you can't do well in Brazil, then Brazil professional football might be able to compete with American high school football. Okay, so if you can't go and compete in Brazil, then you're not even going to be able to show. And so that's why I wanted to go and when Tony first came in, we kind of gave him a shout out here because he's 53 years old, competing in the 60, the 100, the 200, the 400. Guy's putting himself out there. Guys is putting himself in a position to not always win. You're gonna fail when you do the 60, the 100, the 200, the 400. You're gonna fail probably one time. It's hard to be able to do a 60 and a 400. So if you're afraid to fail, then you already lost. Because I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna work harder than somebody that's afraid to fail. I'm going to go and put myself out there more than somebody's afraid to fail. If you're afraid to knock it on YouTube because you're waiting to make the perfect pick, the perfect video for releasing on YouTube, or come up with the perfect post, the description underneath the post on Instagram to be able to send that out, you're just not going to be you're going to get past I can care less about how one description gets read. I mean, it's not about one description. It's about how many descriptions can you create. And there's a point where it's more about quantity. And for a lot of us, we're younger. And so it's a lot more about quantity than it is about quality. Okay. And people even talk about this now, you know, like when I first started making videos, if you watch the videos back then in comparison to now, I mean, my Tom Brady video, I can't even listen to that. That's my most viewed video on YouTube, that Tom Brady. I can't even listen to it anymore because I can't even get out a freaking thought on the video. I'm like, oh my God, how do so many people watch this? In comparison to now and the breakdowns that I do now. And so, but if I didn't get started, then I wouldn't have gotten to where I am. You know, you've got to get better. You've got to put yourself out there. You've got to allow yourself to run the 100 and stumble and fall and make a fool out of yourself and get back up and get better next time. You know, that's the worst thing that could happen to me is I go to this USL track and field thing in Seattle next week and I fall, you know, and stumble out of the blocks. And I mean, it's not going to happen. I control my negative self-talk there. And I know it's not going to happen, but that'd be the worst case scenario, right? So the thinking about that and focusing on that and the opportunities of failing is only going to slow you down and only going to make it more difficult for you. How do you feel about Olympic champion McNeil loses appeal against 5-year ban? You know, I saw a little bit about that. You know, I want to say McNeil is the guy that he missed his what's it called, drug testing, I want to say, right? He like didn't show up to his drug testing and ended up getting the 5-year ban or wasn't able to get the appeal. And I mean, the rules are pretty straightforward. If you can't show up for 3 drug tests, then, you know, whatever the rules are, I think they should stick to those rules. I mean, I don't think that weed should be something that is on the banned substance list, but, you know, since it is on the banned substance list and knowing that it's on the banned substance list and still partaking in that, you know, recreational drug use is, you know, something you just can't do. So, you know, obviously I wouldn't want anybody to be banned or want anybody to miss the Olympics or have anything like that. But at the end of the day, you know, it is what happens is, you know, you have to be able to live with the consequences of your actions. It seems you are very competent. What is your training / background? So my background, whenever anybody ever asked me about my background, I mean, I went to school for exercise science. And the thing that I think that, you know, ends up being a big differentiator for me, because I don't think it has as much to do with the background. I graduated with 35, 40 other people that had the same degree as me in 2013. And, you know, I was in a small school in Kansas. I'm sure that year alone in 2013, when I graduated from college, I'm sure there was at least 50, maybe 100,000 people that graduated, or maybe even more, maybe 500,000 people that graduated with some type of exercise science, biomechanics, kinesiology, even go into physical therapy. You know, if we go into physical therapy type stuff, maybe 100,000, or sorry, maybe 1 million people that graduated with that same type of degree. So I don't think it ends up having to do a lot about what is your degree or your background and things like that. It's all about how much you're continuing to learn. And that's what I do all, you know, like I found one of the things that, you know, I think I did that really helped me out was, you know, we had this like biomechanics lab and we learned how to go through and look at people and how they were balancing and jumping, and we could see their force production and how, you know, how fast they're moving on one side compared to the other. And it was like, for instance, one of the common things that we'd see is like if you're a right-handed athlete and you would jump on your right leg, you jump with a lot more force out of the hips, where, you know, then you jump on the left leg and you would have about the same amount of force out of the hips as you did or out of the knees. And so what the common thing was like, oh, you weren't using your glutes, so you have to strengthen the glutes. And just so many people would do, I mean, 90% of people would do that. So I got to a point where I'm like, this can't be the thing. There has to be a deeper issue than just, oh, he can't jump as well with his left leg as a right-hander, then he has a glute issue and just needs to do bridges and we'll be able to fix it. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. So I went up and I found neurokinetic therapy, NKT. It's something that I still talk a lot about in terms of one of the best things that I did, just because it gave a little bit more understanding of how compensations work, and just connected a lot of dots with compensation patterns, and immediately took action on that. I had another girl that was working with me at the time, and we both flew out to the closest NKT seminar within like the next month or two. Went, learned more about that, started implementing it. I went to the second level, and I got all the way up in the third level, and did all the certifications. So I'm like a level 3 NKT user, and I've gone to a bunch of different seminars, even on top of the level 3 stuff. And so the point being is that it's not about as much training as how much can you continually educate yourself on, what it is you're doing. And then, watching all the film that I do, and studying and reading the marketing books, I read a lot, I study a lot. I don't listen to as much music in the car as I do books. I listen to, when I'm starting off my day, I listen to successful business people, or successful sprinters, or successful athletes, and them talking. When I was in college, I was reading books about successful coaches, because at that time I wanted to be a football coach. So a lot of what goes into, I think, where I am is the building of myself year after year, and the concentration on self-development. One of the things that Jim Rohn, one of my favorite people to listen to, talked about is you got to be able to work harder on yourself than you do your job, right? And so the more you can work on, the harder you can work on yourself, and the more improvements you can make on yourself, then the better then the better person you're going to end up becoming. And sorry, I'm looking back and forth, by the way, as I'm talking. I got YouTube here on one screen. I have Zoom on another screen, so I just want to see the comments and stuff like that. But yeah, you got to figure out how to work on yourself, and I think there's a lot of people here that do a great job of working on themselves, and that's great. And I don't think that ends up being the bigger issue with us as athletes and working on ourselves. I think a lot of us are in a really good place from a working perspective. What I think a lot of us suffer is overly criticizing ourselves, right? Making it seem like we are not doing enough, having a lot of self-esteem issues and confidence issues because of we look to see, well, we know where we want to go, right? We want to be, for me, running 10-2, or we want to be like Trayvon Bromell, or, these other people that are top performing athletes, Tom Brady, whatever. And then we go and we don't perform at that same high level, and we start beating ourselves up really quickly. And it's really easy to be able to beat ourselves up from maybe we didn't push ourselves as hard at training, maybe we didn't eat the right foods, maybe we didn't get enough sleep or rest, or whatever the case. It's really easy for us to get in that mentality of beating ourselves up and being upset with where we are, and being disconnected to where it is that we want to be, and that ends up being something that we all got to work through. We're all made with certain gifts and certain capabilities, and we have the opportunity to be able to build off of our gifts and build off of the attributes that were given to us. So we can't be upset with where we are, who we are, what's right about us, what's wrong about us. We have to just be able to work on and stay focused on where it is that we're going, and maintain the best positive attitude that we can as we're doing it, because the negative attitude is not going to do anything for you. I talked about earlier, the negative thought just doesn't help. Putting ourselves down and putting doubts into ourselves, and even seeing into the future, like I used to do this when I was in high school. I would, in good games, be able to perform well, or against good teams, bad teams, I would be able to, when we went against like really good teams, big rivals, stuff like that, I would self-sabotage myself into failure. And because I would look and be worried about the interception, throw a bunch of interceptions, then, my team's going to be mad, and my girlfriend, she's going to be embarrassed, and my dad's going to be upset, and all, I'd be able to predict how people were going to respond to me not having a bad game so well that as soon as the bad game would happen, I would already know, so it wouldn't even be a surprise. I'd already have seen the whole thing, right? So I had to change my thought in how I was preparing myself for games, right? I had to be able to change my projection of performance into success, right? Throwing touchdowns, seeing people cheer, seeing my coach happy with me, having the play, you know, all my teammates happy with me, cheering with my teammates, and started focusing on that rather than throwing interceptions, and that made a transformational difference in how well I was able to perform as an athlete. Deliberate practice. Yeah, I love that. I love that. One of the things I learned from watching content is the term deliberate practice. Yeah, gotta focus. Gotta be focused when you're working out. You only have one opportunity to work out. You gotta be focused on what it is that you're doing. And I do want to go over some biomechanics stuff. P Moore, what's up, man? I like it. So you're on YouTube as well as Zoom. You're double timing it there. I love that, man. Thank you. All right, so let me connect this here. Give me a second. I don't even know actually if I'm going to be able to connect you guys on YouTube. Usually on Zoom, I can go and do this pretty easily. It's not going to be too much. I don't know why Zoom today. It was weird with everything. I couldn't start usually I can start my live through Zoom on YouTube, but I couldn't do that today. So you guys are going to be looking at everything from a little bit different perspective because you can't see the screen that you're going to be able to see on Zoom. So if the guys that are on YouTube, if you're watching, you're into it, and you want to learn a little bit more, I highly recommend you guys coming to the Zoom, and the link should be at the top there to be able to actually get access to the Zoom links, and you can see what it is that we're going to be talking about. All right, let's go into this here. So the big thing that I want to talk about when it comes to, and it goes kind of into deliberate practice, which is why I liked it and decided to kind of shift into that, is, you know, when we're going through and doing different types of movements, you know, so we'll go through just like a jump here. And the thing that happens that I think really ends up impacting us negatively is just not focusing on all the key parts of our training when we're training all the movement patterns, right? And so when you're going and you're doing a single leg squat or you're sprinting or you're doing a broad jump, whatever the case may be, let me actually compare this. You want to be thinking about all the small details of every single movement, right? And so one of the things that I started doing, so like for instance here, when I go and I jump here, I used to really focus on driving my knee through, right? And I'm sure last week, you know, maybe not all of you, but I'm sure some of you guys last week saw my video where I talked about where you want to be able to get your heel more up to your butt as you're pushing off or the ground when you're sprinting, rather than driving the knee, you know, putting as much focus on the knee coming through. Well, before I used to talk about being able to really drive the knee through quickly, and that was something that I really focused on because I was really working on my frontside mechanics. Well, I got better with my frontside mechanics, and then I realized watching Noah Lyles, man, I'm really lacking a lot of knee flexion and the ability to properly access my hamstrings. And so now I'm going through and I completely changed how I do broad jumps, right? This was from probably like 6 weeks ago or so. And instead of doing broad jumps now with driving my knees, now I'm just immediately trying to get my heels up to my butt. And it's completely changed the verticality of the movement pattern when I'm jumping, and then also it's able to have a big impact on what it is that I'm doing when I'm sprinting, right? Because I can get to that range better. And it's the same type of thing when it comes to, you know, like calf raises. When I do calf raises, I don't go through as much of the full range of motion. What's your plan to help Ben Simmons develop a jump shot? I have no plan to be able to help Ben Simmons develop a jump shot. That is a funny comment though. But when I do like calf raises, for instance, I mean, one I like to do as many single leg type exercises as I can. Single leg curls, single leg squats, single leg jumps, you know, as many things as I can there. So even single leg cycles. Obviously, when I'm doing broad jumps, you can't do broad jumps. I mean, you can do single leg broad jumps, but they're not the same. You don't get the same type of force on the floor. So you want to be able to get good force on the floor. So when I'm going and doing like something like a calf raise, I want to make sure that I'm maintaining a good bounciness to the movement. Now, even I did that video that talks about walking and gait and how important gait is when it comes to developing speed. And really, I want to make a video. Let me know if you guys think this would be a good idea, Zoom and on YouTube, how gait impacts throwing. Because what ends up being a big thing is how you walk impacts a lot of how you perform. And so even when I walk now, I'm working on being able to drive my knees more, right? Because that ends up being a big important part of being able to understand how to control the body properly when it comes to sprinting, doing anything. So calf raises, I make sure to, I have as much range of motion as I can, but I'm pretty bouncy in it as well. When I walk, I drive my knees. When I also walk, I have a lot of range of motion within my shoulders, and I keep my head over my hips, right? All these small things matter. I make sure to have plenty of internal external rotation in my shoulders. I make sure when I sleep that I don't sleep in an extended position within my lower back. I just try to do all the small little things right. I'm always detailed about when I'm walking, is my knee going inside of my foot? Am I maintaining a good arch? Are my hips through? Like now I'm working a lot on my hip flexor range of motion. And I think about all the small parts. So even when I'm doing I use the monkey foot a lot, right? And so when I'm using the monkey foot and working on my leg curls, driving up my leg, to be able to better replicate what I was talking about with that foot position and getting that foot right back up, I want to make sure that I do that with a healthy amount of hip flexion, and then I also spend a lot more time stretching out my hip flexors now. I spend a lot more time opening up my lower core. I spend a lot more time opening up my shoulders and working on my external rotation. So I focus on what it is that is holding me back. So when I'm running, when I'm sprinting, when I'm working on my top end speed, I'm thinking about, where am I lacking range of motion? Am I having a hard time extending in the back? Am I having a hard time driving with my knees? Am I having a hard time in opening up? Where do I feel tightness? Where do I feel tense? Am I not strong enough in my core? Am I not bouncy enough in my ankles? I watch the tape as well. I review it. I put the tripod up and I review the tape all the time. I'm looking to see how I'm pushing off with my feet to make sure that that's good. Making sure that I'm able to control my landings whenever I'm landing really well, right? I want to make sure that I'm not allowing my knees to collapse in. And so, I just love looking at the small details. It's a lot of fun to me. It genuinely, I have fun looking at small details in the in running and in jumping and in throwing and everything like that. So I do want to give a little bit of time. We're getting pretty close to an hour now, and I've just been rambling here for an hour straight. And so I do want to give a little bit of time to open up the mic to be able to hear or answer any questions that some of you guys might have, whether it be on Zoom or through YouTube. We just got another one from, I think their 4x100 might break the record with Frazier. I don't know if that's a question, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jamaica's 4x1 team was able to win. Or sorry, would be able to break the world record. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Either leave in the chat. You guys can even unmute yourselves. Here we go. Your trek videos are the most detailed and informative I've ever seen. Excellent work. Are they appropriate for kids in summer track programs? Yeah, I think that all these working on technique is something you can definitely do for younger athletes. I mean, obviously some of the stuff that might go into deadlift technique and things like that, you might not be able to utilize that as much, but definitely like drills and things like that, working on general technique. It's a little bit, you gotta be a little bit more patient, I think, when you're training younger athletes. The youngest I work with right now are like some 10-year-olds, like a baseball team, smaller baseball team. And I'm just more patient with that. You gotta be patient with that. Yeah, that's my broad jump. And I think, by the way, the broad jump, I think, is the most important thing that you can do from an athlete perspective. So all you guys that are watching that, want to be able to work on their broad jump or see the broad jump as being something that is, and by the way, P. Moore, I do want to give you the free coaching session when, so we'll be able to connect here. I actually I haven't looked too much into how far I can broad jump. It's probably in like the 9 feet area, maybe, yeah, probably around 9 feet would be my guess. Maybe a little bit more, I don't know. But I think the broad jump is one of the best exercises that you can do. And going into what you're saying, even here with the, and I appreciate the compliment there on it being very informative. That's why I made the YouTube channel for any of you guys that didn't know, or started getting into sprinting, is because, I've talked about this a few times now. I got so many people that would request wanting to learn, speed and something that, a lot of people want to get better at. And so, yeah, people in a direct message, maybe give me your email or something, because I want to be able to, I'm going to give you the free coaching session that I'm giving away here today. So I appreciate your support here in both the YouTube channel and also on the Zoom. So every week so far, I've been giving something away for you guys that are on here. So I highly recommend you guys coming each week. So with the YouTube, with the sprint, people would always ask me, how can I get faster? How can I improve my form? I'd give them a bunch of technical advice from biomechanics and controlling their knees and their ankles and what they're doing wrong with this and that. And so being able to work on really focusing on the sprint, I was like, I didn't really know very much about it. I really ran track or anything like that. And so when I started running track, when I started getting into sprinting, it was really interesting to see on YouTube that the advice there was just not great. Like the stuff that was on more of the mechanics was very boring, and the stuff that was on more of there was a lot of drills, just simple action. There wasn't very many people that were actually going into technique that made it easy for somebody to learn. So I wanted to be able to make something for people that they can go on and get a lot of information very quickly. So, for some of the iPhone that just came on late, will you be live, or will this be available later? So I have the full thing on YouTube. I think it's going to end up staying on YouTube, at least it did last week too. And the only thing is you're not going to be able to see the screen on YouTube. I got to figure out what's going on with Zoom that makes it so I can't access that. But yeah, every Wednesday I'm going to go live. Every Wednesday I'm going to give a free giveaway. So the more people that can come in, the better off we're going to be. Oh yeah, that was another thing that, I haven't actually gotten the Feed the Cats program. I know one of the things that they talk about is working in like the 10-yard, 10-meter, sprints and kind of building up speed from there. I do like that idea. I know for me personally, I really worked on being able to build my speed up. I have a video that's on YouTube that goes into going from, I want to say 16 miles an hour to 22 miles an hour. I think I started at 16. And then worked myself up to 22, and I did that by being able to sprint, probably 5 times a week. But I was just going max velocity, like I wasn't running 100. I was just trying to get my max velocity, 5-6 times a week. And by being able to do that, I was able to build myself up to 22 miles an hour. So, and that was all, before COVID and kind of the beginning of COVID. And then once COVID hit, I unfortunately got fell off the bandwagon a little bit there. But, point being is, I do like that philosophy of being able to kind of build that sprint there quickly. I didn't actually buy the program. I don't know a ton about, I know his Feed the Cats program is getting a lot of attention lately, but I haven't looked too much into, or I haven't actually gotten the program myself, so I don't know a lot about it there. But yeah, so, going back to the story, finishing off the story, the big thing that I ended up doing with the YouTube channel was just wanting to create something for you guys to be able to, go and get easy access to sprinting materials. And then that went into, building out speed breakdowns for individuals and speed programs for people, was just by going and looking to see what were some of the other things available. And some of the options now I think have gotten better over the past few years, but, me being one of the first people to get into, speed training from an online perspective or even through YouTube, gave my channel a good opportunity to grow really, really quickly. So We talked a lot about that at the beginning. For any of the coaches that are watching this, create value for people. I see a lot of people that are coaches that just put on online, oh, I'm working with this person, or oh, do this exercise, or this exercise does this, or blah blah blah. And that doesn't. I mean, it creates some value, but it doesn't create the same type of value as actually doing something for your audience, right? Even doing these giveaways here on Wednesdays. This is something that will help you guys. I'm just trying to do this to help you. I'm going to give you guys an hour of my time to help you grow, and also to be able to talk about goal setting for you, but also for me, because that what this just does, right, is doing, setting up an opportunity for me to talk about goal setting gets me more motivated to talk about goals, setting my own goals and achieving my goals and being excited. And I'm excited for Wednesday afternoon. This makes me excited. I'm excited about my future. I'm excited to build this with you guys and make this so it's something that's really cool for you guys to come to every Wednesday. And we're here to talk about, I want you guys to be open about what it is that you want to talk about. I'd love to be able to get any type of feedback if you guys have anything like that, anything for me to do in the future. I want it to be a great community, a great, tribe opportunity for you guys. Be more, I'm going to send you an email, and then we can talk more about the coaching and everything like that. But it's going to be something that whatever it is that works out for you, man. So, or a woman, I guess. I don't know if you're a woman or a man, but yeah. Do you use triphasic training in your program? So, not really. I don't. The big thing that I've been doing with my programming is really trying to keep a lot of like the weights out of it, and not getting too caught up in that part of the training. I've been going more on the side of body weight type stuff, sprinting side type stuff, and more on the side of just consistency. So working a lot of different sprint drills, and I do Nordic hamstring curls probably 6 out of the 7 days a week. I sprint 4 or 5 days a week. I do calf raises probably daily. I work on my anterior tibs daily. I work on my hip flexor strength daily. I work on my hamstring range of motion daily. I work on my core strength daily. So I just I say more on the consistent side. I don't go too much into, because I want to be able to catch up to a lot of these people. I work hard on my Echo bike 3-4 times a week. Push myself to the max on that, a few sets in a row. And so I don't really go into as much of the triphasic training with the speed program that I'm following, at least. Even when you actually join my my speed program, it has a lot more to do with consistent drills. Lower back for sure. Work on good mornings. I do good mornings 4 or 5 times a week. That's one of those weight exercises, so I don't like doing those as much. Deadlifts too. I don't like doing deadlifts as much, maybe 2-3 times a week. But within the program, I don't have a ton of weightlifting within the program. It was made, when I made the program, it was within like the first 2-3 weeks of COVID, actually. And so I wanted to give people an opportunity to have a workout regimen that they can go to without having much weight. So I need to change up some of this stuff in the program, or I just need to make one that has more of a weightlifting philosophy. I do work with a couple schools in the area. So I do have, and I obviously have an exercise science background. I don't have my CSCS anymore. I used to have my CSCS, but, being able to understand how to, create a program is something that's really important. And I want to be able to make some differentiation though within it, because I do think that we do put too much of a focus on strength, I think, right now in general, when it comes to training for sprinting or for speed, even for throwing. I think that we put a little bit too much of a focus on speed or on strength development, and kind of lacked the thought that technique is where it all comes from, and being able to focus on making sure that we have great technique. Because I see way too many quarterbacks that send me videos that have great, not great technique. I watch, quarterbacks that are getting recruited to these top schools that don't have great technique. And to me, technique's the name of the game. If you don't have a good technique, it's just going to be hard to do anything well for a long period of time. So I'm big on being able to develop all the different parts of game, and some of it does have to go to strength. Like you do have to have a strong lower back. You do have to have strong hamstrings. You have to have strong hip flexors. You have to be strong in these areas, but it's different when you gain strength and lose range of motion. So you have to also have really great range of motion. You have to have really great posture. You have to have really great core strength. And even when you do core strength, you can't lose range, or you can't lose posture, positioning in your range of motion. Sorry guys, I'm looking over onto the side here, but yeah, that ends up going into that there. All right, so I'm gonna call it quits. We have been on here for like an hour 15, I think now. So I appreciate everybody that is in here watching. Again, if you guys have any, email me. I'm gonna put my email on both of these here. I'm gonna go to everyone. Email me if you guys have questions or anything that you would like to talk about moving forward, or anything that I could do to help you guys out personally. Like I said earlier, I always respond to emails. So would love to hear from you guys more. I'm putting my email down in here. I am going to sign off. I've got a few things I got to do, and then I'm going to nice little flag football game. I'm going to go compete a little bit this afternoon. My voice is getting raspy, talking for an hour straight. Geez, last week I think I was fine, but this week it kind of got me a little bit. But anyways, thanks a ton for you guys for showing up. Love you all, and I want to be able to continue to add value. I'm looking to actually get some type of apparel going as well. I'm thinking maybe, what do you guys think? Maybe socks, shirts, maybe some, I don't know, some shorts and something. I want to be able to create some degree of something that you guys can wear around and represent PLC. I don't know if I even want to call it PLC. I might want to make it a slogan. I saw that speed, is moving quickly and moving prosperously. I sent that email the other day. And I like that. I think we should want to move quickly and move prosperously. So I might put that onto a shirt. What do you guys think? Let me know. All right. I want to hear from you guys more. I want to talk to you guys more. You guys are. I've gone through some tough times in my life, and my YouTube channel has been something that I can constantly go to and constantly get really good feedback from you all, and even the people that have been consistent and showing up to these. Lately, I really appreciate it. It makes it a lot easier to get up the next day, and even for the rest of the week, and be excited about the week, because you guys are here and you're asking me questions, and it just creates value that I know I'm able to help people out there, and that's what I love to do. I love to know that the things that we're talking about and doing is making a positive impact in your guys' life, and able to be something that you can go to and feel comfortable being. I want you guys to every time you come here, feel comfortable talking about whatever it is that you need to talk about. It doesn't have to always be about athletics. It can be about anything. I want to help you out. That's why we talked about goals today. So we talked about using the name and likeness and being able to shine your light and more than just the athletic side. I do think obviously the technique's important. We want to get into that, but being a just working on yourself and being able to, go into so much more than just athlete. Like we're people at the end of the day. We're more than just athletes, and we have feelings, and we have doubts, and we have situations that are tough and they're difficult. And we have relationships that don't always work out the way that we want them to, and we all are not always in a great financial situation because we put so much into our physical bodies, and we could be our own biggest skeptics and our own biggest doubters a lot of times. And I understand that, and I want to be able to help you guys through that, because I've definitely been there before as well. So this is going to be a community where we can be open about a lot of different things, and hopefully be people that are here to be able to support and not tear down, because that's what I want to do, is help all you guys build up and be the best versions of yourselves that you possibly can, and just spread that message. Go out this week and go with that same type of mentality wherever it is that you live, wherever you are. Try to help somebody, try to provide more value for somebody in their life, and help them wherever you see it, whenever the opportunity comes in, and let that be just a small glimpse of how opportunity can come into your life at any given time. And it really can, and it can come in far greater ways than that. But I know that just this opportunity of being able to go and help others, and even just seeing that opportunity in front of you, I could help this person in this situation. I encourage you. I want to add power to your life to be able to actually act and make that response. But just being aware of it and seeing that opportunity, I hope will be able to give you the confidence that that is something that can happen, and more than just a way of building somebody up, from this Zoom session or live session, but something that can also help yourself in being able to create more opportunity for you in getting yourself to the next level. Again, whether that's financially, physically, relationship, emotional, whatever the case may be, putting that out there will only be able to set the universe up in an opportunity to be able to give back and whatever it is that you're asking for. And the first thing that you have to do is you have to be able to set goals. You have to connect to it. You have to be able to see it. You have to be able to visualize it. If you're not excited about you and your life, and you're not, you don't have a why behind it, it's a lot harder to be able to get to where it is that you're going. So you guys are my whys, and I really appreciate you guys showing up. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Oh yeah, stop, two of them here.